Hello everyone, Tom Ballard here again with a slightly dodgy webcam, a pimple on my nose, my refugee legal badge. I'm Refugee Legal Ambassador and I'm checking in again with the Executive Director of Refugee Legal, David Mann, to see how things are going amidst COVID-19. Hello again, David.
Hi, Tom, at a distance.
Yes,
great
once
to chat
again at a distance.
Yeah.
Well, great to have you back. Last time we talked about the incredible response that Refugee Legal has had to this extraordinary circumstance. The great news is Refugee Legal continues to do its fantastic work, helping vulnerable people, people seeking asylum, people in detention. Let's talk a little bit more about those people that you're helping. Personally, I have a friend in the Melbourne Immigration Transit Accommodation who's been in detention for a very, very long time.
How long has he been there, Tom? How long has he been?
Off the top of my head, I believe it's something like 6 or 7 years, honestly. He came to Australia in detention, came out of detention, was then actually placed back in there in Brisbane, ended up in Melbourne. He has a long, complicated, messy story like a whole bunch of people. But the simple fact is he has mental and physical health problems. And of course, he's stuck in there. We can't visit him. What is the legal status and the kind of challenges facing people like my friend in Australian immigration detention right now?
Yeah, well, Tom, there are many people in that predicament at the moment, women and men, stuck in this, petrifying situation. We're helping many people in that situation, and the reality is that that people are being held in detention, sort of like land-based ruby princesses. Where they're in crowded and cramped conditions, sharing food halls. There are people in dorms of up to 6 people. They're having to share, showers, amenities, all of those amenities. And the bottom line is they simply cannot practice the basic standards of social distancing and self-isolation that are expected by us. And so it is it's an extremely dangerous and precarious situation, and one that we're looking very closely at. The reality, Tom, is that there are ready alternatives that the government could be utilising at the moment to get people to safer accommodation. That's happening in other countries around the world. It's happening in the UK. There are other countries that are looking at alternatives for people. Not so here. I mean, we keep being told, Tom, that we're all in this together. Well, we're actually not. There has been a paradigm shift globally, right? Paradigm shift globally, where in the way that we live and work. And that includes in our country, and it includes in the way that governments are responding to the pandemic. There are extraordinary measures being taken, stimulus packages, etc. There are some rare exceptions, and I have to say, in this area, this is one of them. And this, in the immigration area, in the approach to people seeking asylum, to refugees and vulnerable migrants, it's a real exception. And this is the sharp end of it, Tom. And what can be done? Well, at the end of the day, it's up to either the government and the minister to look at safe alternatives, and there are safe alternatives to this. But if they don't, well, of course, then it comes down to the courts and legal action, and we're looking very closely at that. We're seeking to urge the government to take alternatives, including with people like your friend. But if the government doesn't systematically do that, well, there's going to be no alternative but to resort to legal action, and we're looking very closely, of course, at that, as are others.
Yeah. Of course, your other work at Refugee Legal involves dealing with presenting people's cases, giving them support, and letting people tell their stories and have their claims for asylum processed. All that is still continuing, despite all the extraordinary circumstances. How's that going?
Yeah, well, look, it's been an absolutely extraordinary effort by staff and volunteers. I mean, I feel like staff are all working from home, still doing all of the services, right through from telephone advice to full casework and strategic litigation. But and we have volunteers all around the country helping us remotely to do the work. But there was just the other day. There was an example of that. There was a young man from Sri Lanka in his early 30s who came by boat actually in 2012. He's a Sri Lankan Tamil, fled from torture and terrible abuse and came to Australia and lodged his application for protection. It's literally only last year, Tom, that he finally got an interview about his case in September. During the pandemic, he has been refused by the government his protection visa case, and came to us. Basically, just last week, we helped him to prepare his paperwork for the legal review of his case. And it really sticks in my mind. He actually said to the lawyer helping him at the end of a day, working on with now what we call remote clinics, working all day with the lawyer, he said that it was how empowering. He actually said it was an incredibly empowering thing to be able to talk about his story and his case and get the support. And we've lodged the paperwork. And so this is the kind of work that's happening every day. And it's a testament to the extraordinary work of the staff and volunteers around the country.
Mm. And it's also a testament to the incredible support that Refugee Legal is shown by the Australian community, by concerned people, lovely people who are watching this very video, and who can continue to support the vital work that Refugee Legal does. Just go to refugeelegal.org.au to chip in if you can. We know it's a tough time for a lot of people right now for a variety of different reasons. If you're in a position to continue contributing to Refugee Legal, we would love that. We will accept that because you know that money, that financial support goes towards supporting the vital work that Refugee Legal does. Refugee Legal receives no federal government funding. It relies on the support of concerned people such as yourself to help out. So please go to refugeelegal.org.au to continue to help David and his extraordinary team of staff and volunteers. Thank you very much, David. Thank you for your work. Keep it up and go well.
Thanks so much, Tom.